Hey, what's up, Song of Ice and Fire fans, or I guess in this case I should say Dunk and Egg fans. Back with a new reaction video. In this one, I'm going to be covering the entirety of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Season 1. Some of you might have seen that I covered episode 1 before, and then I didn't continue with the episode by episode reactions. They were so short, and I kept getting delayed on recording them that at a certain point I was just like, why bother doing this? Let's just cover the whole series. It's only 6 episodes, 30 minutes each, which is because the novellas that these books are based on, or this show is based on, are very short. So they couldn't do a full like 10-hour season. Like literally the reading the book, like the audio version, I think is like 3-4 hours long. So they had to shorten it. And I think it really worked. I was worried when I heard about this, when they were adapting the entire book into one season. I was worried, like, oh, are they going to have enough material for it? And they definitely did. And I felt like we could have even had a little bit more. I'm glad they didn't add more, just because the novellas are so tied to Dunk's perspective that adding in some other stuff, I don't think would fit with the format. There's this whole kind of, the fact that Dunk doesn't kind of know everything that's going on is definitely a part of the story. Like there was a part of me that was like, oh, okay, this is really good. I would have loved to have gotten some more, like maybe we could have followed Baelor and Maekar and had some scenes with them, the two of them by themselves, which would have kind of expanded their characters a little bit, especially before Baelor dies. But I think it really works. It's better when it's limited to Dunk's perspective. So that was all really great. I think the first season was amazing. I think it was very faithful. There was nothing I hated about this season. There were a few elements I was a little bit like, ooh, and we'll talk about those. In particular, the humor. Sometimes it landed, and sometimes it was like, oh, okay, this isn't really landing. The whole, in the first episode, they do this bit where it's like the music, the iconic Game of Thrones intro song starts to play, and then Dunk has like diarrhea and he just shits, and people were like, what the fuck is this? And other people were defending it. It was funny. Even George R. R. Martin was like, "Oh, I was surprised you did that. That didn't seem like it fit the series." And it's like, George, you wrote a scene of Daenerys shitting into Dothraki Sea. It's a very famous meme that something he wrote. I get what they were going for. They're trying to kind of subvert the expectation that this is going to be a grand epic story. Like the Dunk and Egg novellas are meant to be much smaller in scope. They're little novellas about small scale conflicts happening on the fringes of Westeros. It's not really about battles between armies. It's more so like single combat melee, like adventure type stuff. Now, eventually, will we get to see some more like really epic stuff in the series? Yeah. Although this series has the same problem that A Song of Ice and Fire has, where it's not done yet. George has only written the first 3 of what is planned to be 12 books, I believe. I think he has the next one pretty much done. He's just kind of waiting to release it. So this show is going to outpace it. It's going to finish it, and it's going to spoil a big mystery that has been fans have been talking about for a long time, of what happened at Summerhall. It's a really big mystery. George just teased it a whole bunch. There's a lot of fan theories, and in fact, the actor who plays Egg in this got into a little bit of trouble because it seemed like he implied that he knew the ending of what happens to Egg, and kind of like reveal a spoiler, which I don't take any of that stuff as like, the actors don't know the story, okay? Like it's up to the showrunner and the writers who are going to actually write that. Like, we're talking about something that's happening 12 years from now, if it even happens, if the show doesn't get canceled. And they even talked about potentially having breaks, like doing the first like 3 or 4 books as seasons, and then waiting a few years, and then doing it like groupings like that. It'll give the actors a little bit of a chance to age up too. Although that's another problem I had with it. It's just a lot of these guys are way older than they should be. A great example is Lionel Baratheon. A lot of people really liked Lionel. I thought he was okay. I wasn't as everyone was like, "Oh my God, Lionel Baratheon is the greatest character ever." I wasn't. I thought he was okay. I wasn't that blown away by him. I was like, I felt like the Laughing Storm would be a little bit different than this. They kind of leaned in a certain direction with his character, and I kind of thought he'd be more like Robert, like more boisterous rather than more. There's this element to the show where it has a very like modern sense of humor, which is what I was talking about before. The humor, sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't. With Lionel, I thought it landed okay. They have jokes where he's like, "Oh wait, I forgot what I was talking about," kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, I don't. I figured he'd be more like Robert, like more like just start the joust before I piss myself, kind of thing. But he wasn't awful. I thought he was all right. But anyway, like I was saying, he's a little bit older. Like he already has like gray hairs. And I'm like, damn, he has a part to play in this story way later down the road. He's gonna be like fucking 60 years old by that point. It's that and the same thing's true of Baelor too. He seemed like a little bit old. Like the Baelor that I've seen from like official art of the series portrays him as like this young, very fit guy, and this is a dude with like graying hair. So it wasn't awful, but I probably would have aged some of these guys down a little bit, or at least try to make them look with makeup and prosthetics a little bit younger, especially since if they stay true and they do the entire novella series, we're going to be following these guys for like 12 years at this point, or longer even. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I will say I was impressed by how restrained they were about like lore dumping. They surprisingly don't explain a lot of the backstory. They don't explain why Baelor has dark hair. They don't explain the conflict with, Darren versus Daemon Blackfyre, the Blackfyre rebellions, which are a part of this. That you get little hints of it. There's a scene where Egg's kind of singing about the death of the Black Dragon, and it's interesting because when these novellas were written, George actually didn't have the Blackfyre rebellions as a lore concept yet. He later on he adds it, and in the future novellas is definitely a big part of it. But there's actually no sort of indication in this one that the Blackfyres exist. Although now that since we do know that, they actually weave that in a little bit more. I think we saw Redgrass Field. I wasn't 100% sure, and that's again the interesting thing that they don't lore dump like, hey Dunk, this is the Redgrass Field where Daemon Blackfyre died. They kind of leave. They're very restrained with it, which I appreciate. Although I was wondering if some of the more casual viewers would be a little bit confused. Like they might think that Baelor, the reason he has black hair is because of Rhaenyra and her bastards. Which I mean, these guys are descended from Rhaenyra, but it has nothing to do with that. They're half Dornish. But again, overall, really, really great season. I thought he handled everything pretty well. The flashback in season 5, I didn't think it was awful. I think it was good at showing us and that's original material. I don't think that was in the novella. It was good at showing us what Dunk's life was like. I feel like if we were going to flashback, we probably should have included more of Sir Arlen. The only thing we really get of him in that episode was Dunk just following him around for a while. We don't get any scenes of them training together or anything, which maybe they'll include that in the next season. Like maybe we'll slowly start to get more flashbacks of Arlen and Dunk as they go on, which that could be a good, interesting thing. They're really committing to like playing things out season by season, which can be a smart thing to do if they actually get the whole thing. If again for some reason they're like, oh, we're canceling it after season 3 or whatever, then some of these things might become problems in hindsight. But as of right now, they have a very strong foundation for building future seasons, and hopefully they stay true to the books. Obviously, there was a whole big discussion going into this show about House of the Dragon and how much they changed from the original source material. and George in particular, Ira Parker, the guy who is running the show, was talking about how George was like really, really insistent with him that he do a, you know, authentic version of his books. Don't make a whole bunch of changes. The few changes that they made, I thought were very fine. The one thing that was weird, and it's only in this last episode, was the music choices. At the beginning of the final episode, there's like jazz playing, which was very weird. It's not consistent with the kind of aesthetic of the show. Like, why is there jazz playing? Like, I understand they wanted to kind of have like a silly sounding kind of music to be like, again, they're trying to play it like this is not so serious, and that's reflective of the books too. But like, why jazz? You could come up with a upbeat kind of medieval, you know, folk song type thing. We even saw a lot of those in Game of Thrones too, like the Bear and the Maiden Fair and stuff like that. Also, at the end, the song that plays over the credits is 16 Tons. You know, the song about, you know, the poor and the working class, which I get that as how it relates to Dunk being like a poor knight, but really, really weird to have a modern song playing. The lyrics even talk about like St. Peter, and, you know, sold my soul to the company store and stuff. And I was like, this is so weird. And it's just the end credits. Like, I know some people are gonna be like, who cares? But it's just like, why? Like, why include modern music in this like medieval fantasy show? Like, again, if you want a kind of more silly, you know, song to go out at the end with, there's plenty of silly songs that they sing in the Song of Ice and Fire that you can talk about. You know, so I thought that was a very, very odd choice. I hope they don't keep doing that. I would really hate to be like, imagine the intro to season 2 and it's Sabrina Carpenter or something playing. It's just like weird. Like, why do that? So overall, some very slight issues, but very, very solid season. Very happy with it. Enjoyed it much more than House of the Dragon. I'm looking forward to the new season of Night than I am season 3 of House, which is coming out later this year. So, but we'll have to see. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching this, and stay tuned for the next reactions coming soon.